Good morning all, this is Rupa here. I'm going live with a sweet that we could do for our pujas and for Diwali. This is the OPOS banana Sheera. So let me start with the layering. However, this is not a layering, we're going to do something called the retained heat cooking. So in my 2-liter magic pot, I'm going to add half a cup of water followed by half a cup of milk. So I prefer to cook my sheeras with a little bit of milk also. So my layering is gonna have half a cup of water and half a cup of milk. I have chopped and kept 1 cup of finely chopped bananas. So I'm adding that as well. And 1 cup of sugar. So I've measured everything and kept already. So this is not exactly a layering. This is more like a retained heat cooking that we are going to do. This is the content that is going to go into the magic pot. So we will be closing this and cooking on high for 1 whistle, releasing pressure and adding a half a cup of finely double roasted rava to it, closing it and keeping it on retained heat for roughly around 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, we could actually add the ghee also along with the layer itself, or when you are quickly gonna mix in the rava to the fruit sheera, you could add 2 to 3 tablespoons of ghee. So my layering here is very simple. We have just added all the contents together to the magic pots. This is not essentially a layering, but this is more a concept of retained heat cooking. Now what we are gonna do is all these contents in the magic pot, we're gonna cook on high for 1 whistle, and we're going to quickly release the pressure, whisk in half a cup of double roasted rava as quickly as possible, as swiftly as possible, is because the faster you do the whisking, the formation of lumps is not going to happen with respect to our rava. So this concept of retained heat cooking is followed with our upmas also. So whenever we want to do an upma, you could go ahead and use this concept of retained heat cooking. And we also do the retained heat cooking when we are cooking something with poha. Like for example, you want to do the bisi bela bath with poha, we just pressure bake the vegetables along with dal and the bisi bela bath masala, whatever we want to add, give 2 whistles, quickly release pressure, add in poha that has been soaked in water. If it is a thick poha, or if it is the thin poha, just rinse it once with water and add it to the cooker with as much water as you want, and let it cook on retained heat for 2 to 3 minutes. Your poha bisi bela bath will be done. So I'm just waiting for 1 whistle. The pressure is building up. So you must get the 1 whistle roughly in about 3 to 4 minutes. So once there's 1 whistle, quickly release pressure, add in rava to it. That's half a cup of finely roasted rava and ghee. I could have added ghee to my initial layering itself when I was adding everything to the cooker, but nevertheless you could also add ghee when you're quickly frisking the rava into the cooker. So there are a lot of variations of the sheera. I will kind of wait for 8 minutes or so, open the cooker and show you the consistency of the sheera. But we would always recommend you to keep it closed on retained heat for roughly around at least 10 to 15 minutes, so that the rava is finely cooked. The consistency of the sheera varies from family to family. We kind of prefer a very grainy consistency of sheera, but there are some people who prefer a very mushy consistency. There are people who prefer neither very grainy nor very mushy. So you could alter the water content based on how your family prefers the sheera to be. Now this particular sheera is the banana sheera that I am doing, which is not gonna be very mushy, not very grainy. I like it grainy, but because I've added fruits to it, I think I'll not get that much of a grainy consistency here. So yes, so in another 1 minute or so we must get our first whistle. A lot depends on how fastly you are going to frisk your rava to the cooker. Close it, and keep it. And you could add saffron strands to the kesari if you want. I'm just keeping it as a very basic version, so that I just want to demo something which kesari generally involves a lot of stirring. There's a lot of lumping up of rava that happens whenever we want to make kesari, even for a small batch. If you follow the retained heat cooking of OPOS, you will figure out that scaling up even 2 to 3 kgs of kesari is a child's play. So follow the technique to the T, and scaling up becomes very, very easy. So just waiting for the first whistle. I've added milk here to the layering. I've added bananas which are finely chopped. You could replace bananas with mangoes. You could replace bananas with pineapple. So yeah, we've got the first whistle. We need to very quickly release pressure. You will have a bit of spewing. It's because you've added water to it. So just hold on a bit so that there's no too much of spewing that happens. Just make sure you release pressure in intervals. In another, let's say, another half a minute, we should be able to release pressure totally. You'll always have this spewing whenever you're adding a lot of water and trying to release pressure. Do not kind of release it very fast so that there's a lot of spewing or something like that. Don't do that. Now, yes, we can open the magic pot, and I have half a cup of rava that I have measured and kept. Very swiftly make sure you mix it up. Okay, and I also have 2 to 3 tablespoons of ghee which I'm quickly adding to this. So yes, and now all that we will be doing is closing this and leaving it for roughly 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm gonna wait for 8 to 10 minutes so that I can show you how the consistency of the sheera is. A long time, I know, but then we really want to show you how good the consistency of the sheera is when we cook it on retained heat. So I have started my timer. So we'll have to wait for roughly around 8 minutes. While we do that, let me take you through the different variations of kesari that we generally do. Now there's this traditional kesari that we do with the saffron color. Please add the color whatever color that you want when you are actually adding all the contents to your cooker. Number one. Number two, you want to increase the sweetness. You could go ahead and increase the sweetness from a 1:1 ratio to a 1:2 or even a 1:3 ratio. I have seen people adding, almost 2.5 cups of sugar for 1 cup of rava. Now that's another variation. Whatever you want to vary, please do that based on your family's preference. What we are demoing here is the basic concept and the basic technique for you to understand retained heat cooking. Now, I was talking about retained heat cooking sometime back. We were talking about the bisibele bath that we could do with poha. So you could also actually do the same bisibele bath with rava using retained heat cooking. Forget the dumpall technique of bisibele bath that we used to have. Just pressure bake your vegetables along with your OPOS staple dal. Add OPOS tamarind paste to it, any pre-roasted lentil powder or your parpu podi to it, or if you have a bisibele bath powder with you already, add that also as a layer. Give 2 quick whistles, release pressure, add in as much water as you require, and either 1 cup of the soaked poha that you have, add that to it, and you have the bisibele bath with poha ready. Now when you come to retained heat cooking of rava, then you definitely have to add water to it. We have to follow the dumpall technique when it comes to adding rava, is because adding chilled water and adding rava to it may not cook the rava. Now that's one reason why we tell you to swiftly whisk the rava, so that there are no lumps formed, and it should not inhibit the cooking of rava. We have always received queries like, why can't we let the pressure settle, because there is a little bit of spewing when we try to open the cooker when it is for retained heat cooking. It's because we really want the water to be as hot as possible, so that retained heat inside the cooker enables faster cooking of the rava that we are adding to the cooker. Now, replacements for banana: the mango kesari is one of the famous kesaris that we've ever seen. And we had this beautiful kesari that we did in the Bangalore demo. All thanks to my girls. They didn't leave even one spoon for me to eat then. So from then on, mango kesari has been one of my most favorite versions of the fruit kesari. There's also this tutti frutti kesari that I have heard. So all that you have to do is mix and match ingredients. So for the tutti frutti kesari, buy this, ready-made tutti frutti that you get from the shops. While you're adding the contents to the cooker, go ahead and add half a cup of tutti frutti to it, and then add your rava. The concept is the same. Whatever variations you want to do, you could go ahead and do the variations, so that you have, there are multiple kinds of kesari bath that is being served. Now this particular banana Sheera is the version of Sapata Paksha that we call, which we generally serve for Satyanarayana Puja. So I have not added any saffron to it, but when we serve the prasad, we do have, saffron in it. We do not add any cashews or any raisins to the banana Sheera especially. But if you really want to add, dry fruits fried in ghee, you could go ahead and add. You want to add saffron to it, please go ahead and add. Or you want to increase the amount of ghee to it, you are free to do everything, but you're only going to follow the technique of retained heat. We are at roughly around 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you for watching so patiently. I will be opening the cooker by around 8 minutes for me to show you the kind of consistency that the rava is in. You could also, actually blend the fruits. I like the bite when it comes to fruit kesaris, is where I have added finely chopped bananas to it. But if you feel you do not really want that chunky kind of a kesari, you want a really smooth one, please go ahead and blend the fruits and add half a cup of the fruit pulp to it, or 1 cup of fruit pulp to it, depending on how strong you want the flavor to be. So we kind of also have this pineapple pudding. Yeah, Anupama, now that's like, one of the, that's like the to-be dish in most wedding breakfasts when we go. Now there's this gliding ghee-filled pineapple kesari bath that we generally have in a lot of weddings here for breakfast. Now that also comes out really, really well in the case of retained heat cooking. Now, we are at roughly 6 minutes, another 20 seconds for 6 minutes. I will open the cooker at 8 minutes, show you the kind of consistency that the rava is in. The rava would have would have definitely cooked. I'll keep it closed again for another 5 minutes or something and show you the final picture. But do not forget to whisk it as fast as possible to prevent any lumps from being formed. Change it according to your family's preference also. Change the water content to how your family prefers it. I was just talking to RK yesterday and he told me rava absorbs 7 times of water. Now that was news to me. It's because I'm generally used to adding 2 cups when it comes to, upma, and I take it up to 3 cups when it comes to the, rava suji bath that we do in Karnataka. And when it comes to the rava ganji, that is like, the kheer that is generally had on Dwadashi for us, for that we generally take it up to 3 to 3.5 cups. But that was news to me that, 7 cups of 7 times of water was something that was really, really new to me. So which comes to prove you can change the water content to whatever level that you want. So yeah, any other doubts, please ping me or put it on comments. I'll get back to you. The technique that we are demoing today is retained heat cooking. Sheera, or the most famous kesari is what it is called here in Tamil Nadu. It is the halwa, the suji halwa in north, and the Sheera in Karnataka. So, and we also call sajjige. We call it sajjige sometimes. So this is like, a universal dish, but in different variations, different names, and different proportions of water that kind of make it a little different than the other dish. So we're at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you for being with me, because I know 8 minutes is quite long to keep hearing to someone talking to you without any action on the camera, but I really wanted to show you how this turns out to be. So another 15 minutes I'll be releasing whatever pressure that has been formed in the cooker and showing you the kind of consistency that the Sheera is in. So we are almost there, another 5 to 6 seconds. So I will release whatever little pressure that has been formed. Yeah, so we are at 8 minutes. So I'll go ahead and release whatever pressure that has been formed and show you the consistency. Yes, see, there's absolutely no lumps formed. Now if I were to do the same thing traditionally, guys, it would have been like, I should have sat and kind of stirred it till my hands would pain, because with banana, with rava and everything together, I should have so swiftly kind of, stirred it. Can you see? There's absolutely no lumps formed. I kind of prefer the grainy consistencies where I kept the water content one cup of water and half a cup of water, half a cup of milk and 1 cup of fruit pulp for half a cup of rava. You want to make it a little more mushy, increase water. You want to make it a little more grainy, decrease water. Thank you for watching. I shall post the final pic in another 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you. Bye-bye.